know I'm near Fort Lewis because my ears start to ring every time I get near Fort Lewis on this I-5 stretch. My ears start to ring at the same time as my little scabs on my eyebrow start to itch. About 5 or 10 of them on each one, along them, underneath them, under the hair kind of. And there's little red marks that were kind of tiny scabs that continue along the line of my ridge of my eyebrows, along the side of my head. And they kind of fade off after a little ways. They start to itch, like the little Morgellons bugs crawling on you sensation. And then also, as my ears begin to ring and I begin to hurt and itch a little on my eyebrows, I get a little itch at the corners of my mouth. That's kind of annoying and distracting, and then at the corners of my eyes, and then where I start to get the old spider web feeling, like some sort of little spider web is touching the corner of my eyelid, or not my eyelid, but like just my cheek and my eye right at the corner. And I have to scratch that. Nothing there usually. Once in a while there's like a little cobweb thing there, or whatever. The lines in your forehead, those will begin to, I've looked before, I'm not looking right now obviously, but they become more pronounced, the lines, and also, under enough stress of whatever is, bringing on these sensations, which I believe are some sort of radio / microwave / 5G system that can be stationary, mounted in one place, like on a transmitter, or it can be mobile on vehicles, airplanes, whatever. But anyway, that's what seems to bring this on, and it's really bad in this area right here. All around the fort is really bad for it. I mean, I-5 has got several spots along it where I've driven this stretch enough times in the last couple of years now that I can conclusively say that, this area, my Morgellon symptoms are a problem, and it's always kind of a problem, but this is one of the worst areas. They're always going to flare up here. If I'm feeling okay on my drive, there's certain areas I'll get to, and it'll happen every time. It's got to do with the amount of, radio send and receive, radar and whatever shit that's going on in the military base here, where they probably destroyed a whole Tartarian, city here, would be my guess, because to put this large of an area, off limits to the public, make it a military base, and then from what you can see from the road, there are brick buildings, old brick buildings. Now the ones you can see don't look gigantic, like, you would think of cathedrals or anything. They just look like things that we might build. But they're definitely old brick, and they're old. And then it looks like a town that stretches off into the distance, but you can't really see very far. And it's, got mountains kind of all around the little valley that it's in, and, not huge mountains, but hills big enough you can't see around into that area to see what's there or what was there or any of that. I suppose I could look on Google and see what it says. Pretty much if a military base is there or a golf course is there, there's a golf course right across the road and down here a little ways. It's also near a place called Mounds Road, which sounds like mounds. And you know what mounds are. Old earthworks. And it's not far from Olympia, which has got the capital. This entire Puget Sound area was kind of a Tartarian, key location, I'm sure, with the amount of buildings that are still here that have been left, from Seattle to Olympia, and even a little farther south into the Centralia area. But, yeah. Military. What a joke. Yeah, join the military, get all geared up and trained and go to a third world country and kill people and grow heroin for the safety of your country. Congratulations, you're a hero. Give me a fucking break. This radio station is named Audio Slave in honor of the last American hero to whom speed means freedom of the soul. The question's not when he's gonna stop, but who's gonna stop him? Who's gonna stop him? I saw a Tesla a little bit ago actually hot rodding it. It's like I've seen lots of Teslas and they're always driving just, they're doing the speed limit. They're just driving like, grandma. I haven't seen any Teslas light them up or anything, if they can. I suppose there's got to be a mode where they can, take off some of the wheel spin control and spin them a little bit. You would think, maybe not. But the guy he was like weaving through traffic, but he got with it pretty good. He was just like cruising. He hit the signal, and he was gone. I suppose it shouldn't go because it wasn't bad about it. He was gone. A little wind noise. The thing was moving. Like, well, I don't know if he's stuffing it to the floor, but it's moving fairly quickly. I noticed it enough to feel slightly impressed with it. Like, well, that's got some pickup at freeway speed. It's ready to go. It's probably got more at pickup speed because of the inertia of the motors. They're up and spinning, so they got that inertial pull as well as their electrical potential. I think I got a couple videos. They're not uploaded yet. They were actually before my one about God makes shit and doesn't know what he's doing. That must be what people who trust their doctors and the things they say, they must believe that. They must believe, oh well, we're supposed to live these short, crappy, unhealthy, shitty lives and die at a young age. When I say young age, I mean between 60 and 90. That's really young, actually, in the larger scheme of things, and compared to what has, historically been said by some cultures as to how long people live. You know what I mean? But we've become used to it and accept it as normal. It's called conditioning, right? And then you look at the reset populations that were brought in around, the turn of the last century. The turn of the century before last, which was, 120 years ago, 123, 124. And they're all around the same age. They look like they're in their 20s to 30s maybe. There's no children, there's no old people. They're all dressed in the same black kind of outfits, standing around like they don't know what they're doing in cities that are completely built. Now either AI is making these pictures, and AI has actually been there all along and has fabricated our history, and this is the best it can do. That's why the Civil War pictures look so stupid. That's why there's no actual pictures of battles. There's just drawings of battles, pictures of guys posing next to stacks of cannonballs, like you would decimate a Greco-Roman looking city, call it Richmond, Virginia, and then you'd have your guys go in and pick up all them cannonballs and stack them neatly so we can come and load them. I mean, maybe they would want their cannonballs back. I'm sure they probably would, but go stack them all into a pyramid in front, and then we'll all stand there with our hand in our pocket and pose for a picture in front of a destroyed city. Why would you need to destroy every building in the city if all you're trying to do is take over the area? The people. You would want to kill the people or drive them away, which is what would happen. There would be no need to come in with your superior force. Everybody who could flee would flee if they were completely outgunned, in which case there'd be no need to park your wagons and bring in your loads of gunpowder and endless supply of cannonballs and sit down for a week or two and plug cannonballs at all the buildings until you've destroyed everything. You wouldn't want to do that. In fact, you probably want to keep it for yourself. It's called infrastructure. It's kind of necessary to have a city, right? That's why the Civil War story is just horseshit. It's an obvious lie. And if you go from what is an obvious lie to the next obvious lie, you start to connect them together, and our history is an obvious lie. At a certain point, you've seen enough, you've connected enough dots, you've used logic, you've used deductive reasoning, and you can conclusively say with common sense that these stories are pathetic. They're not even slightly believable. If they were slightly believable, there'd be room for doubt. They're pathetic. They're not even slightly believable. Only a complete and utter brainwashed fool who would believe anything you told them would believe these stories. But the thing is, most people don't even know what these stories are, and they don't care to look, and they wouldn't spend a minute to, think about it if they did happen to come across one, somehow. Oh yeah, we built the Erie Canal, in 1825. Well, sure, why not? 350 miles with elevation changes up through mountains and back, and then when you look at the cities it all goes through, they all have sculptured waterfronts along the canal with gigantic megalithic blocks, and some Irishmen, some drunk Irishmen with some pickaxes built this in about I think it was said to be 8 or 12 years or something. I mean, that might maybe less than that, but a ridiculous short period, especially given they did not have power tools or diesel trains to transport and dredge the stuff away from, and not to mention that while they're building the canal, they built all the waterfronts in the cities too, and part of the cities, and cathedrals along the way, and armories, and yada yada yada, blah blah blah, on and on and on and on. It's endless. It's endless. You look at the Tartarian research enough, and you cannot come to any other conclusion than that we're the descendants of a reset population. Things have been flowing along at what seemed like a normal world for, several generations. I would say that the reset people I've seen in the pictures, their reset was, 1850 to 1900 range, and that's